Ilara Matthews checked her environmental suit's seals one final time as the airlock hissed open. The Horizon Research Station orbited a gas giant in the Vega system, humanity's furthest outpost from Earth. As lead xenolinguistics researcher, Ilara had spent 3 years studying communication patterns across species, yet nothing had prepared her for today's arrival. Steady breathing, Dr. Matthews. Commander Chen's voice crackled in her earpiece. The Linery ambassador is sensitive to emotional fluctuations. Lara nodded, focusing on calming her excitement. The delegation from Liner was the first of their kind to engage directly with humans, and she'd been selected as primary contact. Years of research, and now she'd finally meet a true empath species. The shuttle doors slid open, revealing 3 figures. 2 appeared humanoid with silvery skin, clearly security personnel. But between them stood a slender being with delicate features and skin the color of twilight, a soft, iridescent purple that seemed to shimmer under the station lights. "Welcome to Horizon Station," Ilara said, carefully enunciating the practiced greeting. "I am Dr. Ilara Matthews." The purple figure stepped forward with fluid grace. "I am Zephyr, 3rd empath of the Linary Conclave." Her voice was melodic, with perfect human intonation, despite the alien vocal structure. "Your words say welcome, but you radiate fascination and apprehension." Ilara blinked, caught off guard. "Ah, yes, you're correct." Zephyr's lips curved slightly. "Honesty feels warm, like sunrise." She extended slender fingers, 5 on each hand, Ilara noted professionally. "May we connect properly?" Commander Chen tensed beside her, but Ilara removed her glove and reached out. Their fingertips touched, and an unexpected warmth spread up her arm. "Curious mind, dedicated spirit," Zephyr murmured. "You've studied our kind extensively, yet knowledge without experience leaves you hungry." "That's remarkably accurate," Ilara whispered, trying to maintain scientific objectivity despite her racing heart. "The connection goes both ways," Zephyr explained, her violet eyes so human-like yet ringed with silver studying Ilara intently. "Your species fascinates us equally. You feel so deeply, yet hide within yourselves." Commander Chen cleared his throat. "Dr. Matthews will show you to your quarters and discuss the research protocols." As they walked through the station's curved corridors, Ilara noticed how gracefully Zephyr moved, her purple skin catching the light differently than human skin would. "Your colleagues fear our abilities," Zephyr said quietly. "They believe we might exploit emotional vulnerabilities." "And will you?" Ilara asked directly. Zephyr stopped, turning to face her. "Understanding is not exploitation. Dr. Matthews, I know what you feel: curiosity overriding caution, excitement beneath professionalism, loneliness despite colleagues." She tilted her head. "The question is, are you prepared to know what I feel in return?" Ilara felt something shift between them, a challenge and an invitation wrapped together. "That's why I'm here," she answered, realizing this encounter would change everything she thought she understood about communication, connection, and perhaps herself. 1 week into their collaboration, Ilara found herself increasingly drawn to Zephyr's lab sessions. The purple-skinned Linery sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed. As wavelength patterns danced across the monitoring screens, "Your equipment is primitive but effective," Zephyr commented, not opening her eyes. "Though it only captures the surface of emotional resonance." Ilara adjusted a sensor. "That's why you're here. We can measure brain waves, heart rates, pupil dilation, but empathic perception eludes our instruments." Zephyr's lips curved upward. "Because you try to measure what should be experienced." She extended her hand, a gesture that had become familiar between them. "Join me." Ilara hesitated only briefly before sitting opposite Zephyr and taking her hand. Immediately, a warm sensation tingled up her arm, no longer surprising but still remarkable. "Focus on a memory with strong emotional content," Zephyr instructed softly. Ilara thought of her father's funeral 3 years ago, standing alone as rain pattered against black umbrellas. Zephyr inhaled sharply. "Grief and guilt." "You weren't there when he died." "I was on the preliminary Vega mission," Ilara whispered. "He told me to go. that his treatment would work. The guilt is unnecessary weight, Zephyr said, her purple fingers tightening gently around Alara's. He wanted you to fly among stars, not remain earthbound in sorrow. Alara pulled away, suddenly uncomfortable with the intimacy. This isn't about me. We're supposed to be documenting linear empathic ranges. All science begins with personal experience, Zephyr countered, her violet eyes now open and studying Alara. Your people separate emotion from intellect, as if they aren't interconnected aspects of consciousness. Later that evening, Alara reviewed the day's recordings in her quarters. The data showed something remarkable when they touched. Both their brainwave patterns synchronized in ways that defied explanation. A knock interrupted her thoughts. Zephyr stood at her door, still dressed in the silvery robe that complemented her purple skin. You're still working, Zephyr observed. Your dedication radiates through the station. You can feel emotions through walls, Alara asked, both scientifically curious and personally unsettled. Intense ones? Yes. Zephyr moved closer. Your colleagues fear this ability. They believe we invade privacy, but emotions naturally broadcast themselves. We simply receive what is already transmitted. Alara set down her tablet. Is that why the linear conclave has remained isolated until now? Fear of how others perceive you. Partially, Zephyr admitted, but also because connection for us is profound. What humans call intimacy is our natural state. She tilted her head. You've been alone too long, Lara. Your isolation echoes like an empty chamber. The use of her first name startled Alara. We're colleagues. Zephyr, on my world, there is no distinction between colleague and friend. She reached out, fingers hovering near Alara's face. May I show you? Heart racing, Alara nodded. Zephyr's fingertips brushed her temple, and suddenly emotions not her own bloomed inside her: curiosity, admiration, and something deeper. Warmer. This is how I experience you, Zephyr whispered, for the first time in years. Alara felt truly seen. Your vital signs are elevated, Commander Chen noted, reviewing Alara's medical data. These sessions with the linear are affecting you physiologically. Alara shifted uncomfortably. The empathic connection requires certain neural pathways to activate. It's temporary, is it? Chen looked unconvinced. Dr. Kapoor reports you've been spending off-duty hours with the alien as well. Zephyr, Alara corrected automatically. And yes, cultural exchange happens beyond lab conditions. Chen's expression hardened. Remember your position, Doctor. The linear may seem humanoid, but they're not human. Their concept of connection could be manipulation by our standards. Alara left the meeting unsettled. Was her growing closeness to Zephyr clouding her scientific judgment? She found the linear in the station's observation dome, purple skin luminescent against the backdrop of stars. Your conversation brought distress, Zephyr said without turning. Your commander fears our connection. Alara sighed. He's concerned I'm losing objectivity. Objectivity, Zephyr echoed, as if tasting the word. My people consider that concept flawed. Everything we observe is filtered through experience. Science requires distance, does it? Zephyr interrupted, turning to face her. Or does true understanding require closeness? Your scientists study stars from afar, but your astronauts touch the cosmos directly. Something about the way starlight played across. Zephyr's features made Alara's chest tighten. The purple-skinned being moved with fluid grace toward her. You carry wounds that have never healed, Zephyr said softly. Not just your father, but others who left marks on your spirit. Alara swallowed hard. You've been reading me. I can't help receiving what you broadcast, Zephyr replied. Emotions are your native language, Alara, though you've forgotten how to speak it fluently. And what am I broadcasting now? Alara challenged, stepping closer. Zephyr's violet eyes widened. Confusion, curiosity, desire for connection warring with fear of vulnerability. That's accurate, Alara admitted, her voice barely audible. Without warning, Zephyr reached up and cradled Alara's face between purple hands. Onliner. We believe healing occurs through shared resonance. The contact sent waves of warmth cascading through Alara's body. Images from her past surface childhood disappointments, academic pressures, failed relationships, each meeting Zephyr's unwavering compassion. "You need not carry these alone," Zephyr whispered. Her face now inches from Alara's. "Your species isolates pain, believing it strengthens you. We understand that shared burden becomes lighter." Ilara felt tears forming. "I've spent my career studying communication, yet I've never felt truly understood until now. Words are imprecise tools," Zephyr said, her thumbs gently wiping moisture from Alara's cheeks. "This is why my people prefer direct emotional exchange." As if demonstrating, Zephyr leaned forward until their foreheads touched. A surge of emotion not Alara's own flowed between them. Fascination, tenderness, and something Alara could only describe as reverence. "I know what you feel," Zephyr whispered. "And now, you know what I feel in return." In that moment, scientific protocol seemed impossibly distant. Alara realized she stood at a threshold between worlds her familiar, rational existence and something entirely new that Zephyr offered. Something that promised not just knowledge, but understanding. Not just contact, but connection. The stars wheeled silently above them, witnesses to a transformation neither had anticipated. Alarms blared through the station at 0300 hours. Alara jolted awake, heart pounding as emergency lights pulsed red across her quarters. Her communicator buzzed urgently. "Matthews, report to Central Lab immediately." Commander Chen's voice was tight with tension. "There's been an incident with the line area ice," flooded Alara's veins. She dressed hastily and raced through corridors filled with confused personnel. When she reached the lab, she found security officers surrounding Zephyr, who knelt calmly amid shattered equipment. "What happened?" Alara pushed through the guards. Chen stepped forward, face grim. "Your alien friend accessed restricted communication systems. She was attempting to transmit research data to an unidentified vessel." "Is this true?" Alara asked, searching Zephyr's serene purple features. "I was communicating with the Conclave ship," Zephyr replied. "They requested progress reports." "Using encrypted channels," Chen countered. "Breaking through security protocols, your barriers prevented standard transmission," Zephyr said simply. "I adapted." Chen turned to Alara. "I'm confining the Linary 2 quarters. The joint research is suspended pending investigation." "That's unnecessary," Alara began, but Chen cut her off. "Your judgment is compromised, Doctor. You've become emotionally entangled with the subject." The accusation struck Alara like a physical blow. She watched silently as guards escorted Zephyr away, the purple-skinned alien casting one meaningful glance over her shoulder. Hours later, after heated debates with Chen and tense communications with Earth Command, Alara stood outside Zephyr's quarters. The guard nodded reluctantly at her approach. 5 minutes, Doctor," Commander's orders. Inside, Zephyr sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed in meditation. She didn't move as the door slid shut behind Alara. "Your distress reverberates like thunder," Zephyr said quietly, opening violet eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. "You believe I betrayed your trust, did you?" Alara asked, remaining by the door. "Betrayal implies deception." Zephyr rose with fluid grace. "I have never deceived you, Alara. You accessed restricted systems." "Systems restricted by arbitrary boundaries," Zephyr countered. Moving closer until her purple skin was illuminated by the room's soft lighting, "My people share knowledge freely. Yours hoard it behind walls and passwords." Alara sighed. "Those boundaries exist for reasons you may not understand." "I understand fear," Zephyr said, now close enough that Alara could see the subtle variations in her purple complexion. "Your leaders fear what they cannot control. And you," her voice softened, "you fear what you're beginning to feel?" The truth of those words resonated painfully. "The mission is compromised. They're arranging your return to the Linary vessel." Something like sorrow crossed Zephyr's features. "Then our time grows short." She extended her hand, palm up. "Will you connect with me one final time? Without instruments, without observation, just truth between us." Alara hesitated, duty and desire warring within her. "They're monitoring this room. Let them see," Zephyr whispered. Let them witness connection beyond their understanding when their fingers intertwined human skin against purple. The familiar warmth blossomed, but deeper than before. Ilara gasped as emotions flooded through her. Zephyr's frustration with human limitations, genuine affection for Ilara's curiosity, and beneath it all, a profound loneliness among beings who couldn't truly perceive her. "This is why I accessed your system," Zephyr explained, her free hand rising to trace the contour of Ilara's face. "Not to steal secrets, but to seek understanding beyond words." Ilara leaned into the touch. "I believe you, but I don't know how to convince the others." "Perhaps you don't need to," Zephyr suggested, her purple fingers leaving trails of warmth on Ilara's skin. "Perhaps there are pathways between stars that official maps do not show." The implication hung between them. "Dangerous and enticing." "The guard will return soon," Ilara murmured. Zephyr nodded, her violet eyes holding questions no scientist had ever catalogued. "What will you choose, Ilara Matthews? Safety within boundaries, or truth beyond them?" The lineary shuttle was scheduled to depart in 6 hours. Ilara sat in her lab, surrounded by data that suddenly seemed meaningless cold, measurements of something warm and living. Her research would be redacted, classified, perhaps even destroyed after the diplomatic incident. Her communicator chimed a message from Dr. Kapoor, central monitoring offline for maintenance. "Send your minutes. Good time to back up research." A deliberate warning. Ilara's fingers flew across her console, accessing Zephyr's quarters through the security feed. The purple-skinned linery stood waiting, as if she'd anticipated this moment. "Emergency protocol override, Section 12B. Ilara spoke clearly. Watching the indicator on Zephyr's door shift from red to green. 20 minutes later, they met in the observation dome. The station's skeleton crew focused on shuttle preparations rather than surveillance. "You're risking everything," Zephyr said as Ilara entered, her purple form silhouetted against the vast panorama of stars. "To understand something new," Ilara replied, approaching slowly. "Isn't that what science truly is?" Zephyr's lips curved into a smile. "Your colleagues would disagree. They measure what can be quantified." Ilara stopped before her. "But some things must be experienced to be understood." Outside the viewport, the gas giant's rings caught sunlight, casting prismatic bands across the dome. Zephyr raised both hands, palms forward. "On Liner, we have a connection ritual between those who choose each other," she explained. "Not merely empathic sharing, but complete resonance. If you wish to truly understand, ... double quotes Ilara placed her palms against Zephyr's purple ones. "Show me." The connection surged immediately stronger, deeper than anything previous. Emotions cascaded through barriers Ilara hadn't known existed within her own mind. She saw herself through Zephyr's perception, a brilliant, beautiful being constrained by invisible chains of human convention. "This is how I see you," Zephyr whispered, her voice seeming to originate both from her lips and inside Ilara's mind simultaneously. "And this," Ilara breathed, "is how I see you." She pushed back with her own emotions: admiration, fascination, and something that transcended scientific interest. Zephyr's violet eyes widened. "You've learned quickly." The purple-skinned being stepped closer until barely a breath separated them. "Among my people. Connection requires vulnerability, the shedding of barriers." Her fingers found the seals of her silver ceremonial robe, releasing them one by one. The fabric slipped from purple shoulders, pooling at her feet. "I know what you feel," she whispered, standing unashamed in the starlight. "Now feel what I know." Ilara trembled, understanding the profound significance of this moment beyond physical intimacy. Zephyr had revealed herself completely body and spirit, offering trust without reservation. With newfound clarity, Ilara removed her uniform, each piece representing a barrier between worlds. When they embraced, skin against skin, human and alien, the empathic connection exploded into something transcendent. They moved together beneath the stars, creating a new language of touch and emotion. Purple hands traced paths of discovery across human skin. Human fingers mapped uncharted territories of purple warmth. Their connection resonated beyond physical sensation into a realm where thoughts and feelings merged into something greater, and neither alone could experience. This is what we've been researching all along, Alara realized as they lay intertwined afterwards. Not how empaths communicate, but how beings connect across differences. Zephyr traced patterns on Alara's bare shoulder. The greatest distances are not between stars, but between minds that fear vulnerability. A soft alert chimed 15 minutes until system reactivation. What happens now? Alara asked, her head resting on Zephyr's purple chest, listening to the slightly faster rhythm of her alien heart. The conclave would welcome you, Zephyr said quietly. Your insight, your unique perspective. Your willingness to transcend boundaries? Alara raised herself on one elbow, looking into violet eyes that had become more familiar than her own reflection. You're asking me to leave everything behind. I'm asking if you wish to continue our research, Zephyr replied with a small smile. Beyond official parameters, the choice crystallized in that moment's security, within known limits or exploration beyond them. Science as observation, or science as experience? I'll need 5 minutes to gather personal items, Alara decided, reaching for her discarded uniform, and to leave Dr. Kapoor a proper thank you note. As the Linary shuttle departed, hours later, with 2 passengers instead of 1, Horizon Station shrank behind them. Ahead lay uncharted space, both cosmic and personal. The conclave has a saying, Zephyr murmured, her purple fingers interlaced with Alara's human ones. Knowledge begins where fear ends. Alara squeezed the hand in hers, watching stars streak past. I believe we've proven that hypothesis conclusively. Between them, a connection pulsed, stronger than distance, deeper than difference, and more profound than either had imagined possible when their worlds first collided.